a third type of balance break that's very interesting and informative to work with and can really bring you lots of interesting application, is to work under the premise that you're either caught flat-footed, you're just standing still, and as the attack comes in, you're giving ground. Uh-oh, you got to back out of the guy. Or you might be in a state where you've made your encounter and he's overwhelming you and taking your center of gravity backwards. So you have a, whether it's happening dynamically off of a, being shoved backward kind of feeling, or you're just caught flat-footed and you have to give ground, there's this activity of balance break that happens off the back step. The back step has a particular activity of putting people in a hole. It causes a little rise-fall action here. That's whether you step to the back with the right or the left, whether you encounter it with the near arm or the far arm. Doesn't matter a whole lot. Same thing with the other arm. And to the outside with this, and to the outside with this foot. There we go. As long as you're basically making the encounter right off the point of contact and going backward, boom, you have this dipping and rising function. It really exaggerates. Even if he's a fairly reticent uke and he's just sort of kind of, I don't know, it's just not giving you much to work with. When you step down here, it really does accelerate him into a hole. His body drop becomes really exaggerated. And it doesn't have the whole vectoring idea that we've been playing with up till now. There's not a lot of turning him off the line. And we're actually, as we step back, just going barely off the line. So if I get end on with this line, as I step back, you see I get off the line, but just shallow, just barely. Other side, just shallow, just barely. And that back foot turning with either hand encountering can be a very powerful tool. Very powerful tool. So stepping into the backward line, fairly narrow, and from the point of contact, also an extremely valuable type of balance break to use. Now, once you're standing still and you figure you're caught standing still, theoretically, you can do any type of balance break. If my weight on my feet is even, 50-50, and I perceive the attack coming up, I have time to step to this corner if I like. I can step to that corner if I like. I can say, well, I think I'll go over to this corner here. I can basically step anywhere you like because your weight is not committed in a certain direction. So starting from flat-footed and basically weight 50-50, you can move either foot. From that moment of contact, you have the highest amount of adaptability to move in whatever direction you like. Forward, backward, sideways. The thing I talked about earlier about cutting into a lateral action or just stepping into a sideways direction, very powerful. Makes lovely application, but it is premised on the idea that, one, you've seen it coming and you can get ready to go sideways a little bit. You can get your nervous system geared up for it, because very, very rarely in life do you see people wandering down the street already in sideways motion. Right? Everybody's walking like this, or they're stopping, or they're turning around, or they're taking a little back step, or they're taking one sideways step and looking, or whatever. But you don't see people preambulating through space repeatedly in a sideways action. So it's premised, again, on the idea that you're standing still, you see the guy coming, and you say, I think I'm going to go over here and see what happens. Pretty cool idea. And because you have enough warning, you can get away with that. The downside comes, and the reason that we don't operate from a static position all the time, as if we're always standing still and see the attacker coming, is because you don't always see the attacker coming. Sometimes you're just walking through space, and the guy just, whoa, he throws something at you, and you just gotta step off the line and put the hand up and get out of the way and deal with the problem in a spontaneous, unprepared manner. And so most of the balance break activity is built around that. But that's not to say that you don't have these other options. And one of those other options does happen in a spontaneous way. Where you just, my goodness, your hand comes up, but your body weight's falling back. Maybe it's being forced back, or maybe it's being that you're already in back step pattern like you're being startled, a startle reflex, very common here. In any case, you have that option. You also have the turning options we talked about, where you just turn right with the man. You can turn in tightly on one side or the other in a very dramatic way, right here, from a static position. So virtually any position in any direction becomes available once you start from a still point. It's just that you can't always depend on starting from that still point. It's your preference. If you have your druthers, hallelujah. You say, oh, the guy's going to attack me. Okay, I'm going to stand right here. Here's my spot. Now I get to go wherever I like. But we don't always have our druthers, and so that's why the other balance breaks become the more predominant elements of our work. But not to be confused, we shouldn't ignore the balance breaks that occur off the back step or the balance breaks that occur going lateral or turning tight from the static position. They're all very useful, and they're all worthy of study. So thank you.